should be. Okay, I can see Susan Clemens is here, so she's ready whenever you're ready, Mayor.
Let's see, do we have a quorum here yet?
We do. Blake is here.
Oh, okay, I didn't see Blake. So we got him. That looks better. You've kind of moved to the right a little bit. The horns aren't sticking right out of your head, Councilman Severing. Now they are, yes. Okay, well, it's
tonight.
I believe it's after 6 o'clock. I believe we're broadcasting live. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started in our work session tonight. Let me thank the council and staff for joining us this evening. Always good to have you with us. And we'll go ahead. I understand Susan Clements is going to give our pledge / thought / prayer, whatever she has. So Susan, would you like to take yourself off mute and give us start with a thought or a prayer, whatever you're going to do, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilman. Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be able to meet today in this City Council meeting, this work session, and we pray Thy Spirit might be with those who participate today. We're grateful for this wonderful city, for the good people that live here, and this good government. And we pray that Thou will bless those who sit on this council and our mayor and those who work for the city, that they might work together and make this continue to make this a wonderful place to live. We're grateful for those who are researching vaccines for this virus and also cures or treatments, and pray that Thou will bless them. Bless those who care for the sick, and also bless those who are ill with this virus. We pray Thy Spirit to be with us and guide us in all that we do. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you for that prayer. We surely need it as we strive to do the right things for our citizens and our city. So thank you so much. We'll move into our work session agenda now, and we would seek public comments. Just as a reminder how that would work, if you would raise your hand on the Zoom, John will call on you. If you'd like to convey your comments via chat, you're welcome to do that, and John will watch for those and read those to the council. Just as a reminder, if you would like to comment, please keep your comments to 5 minutes so everyone will have a chance to participate. And also please state your full name and address. So with that, John will watch for public comments, and if you would let us know.
Okay, nothing yet, Mayor.
Okay, we'll give just a few minutes to see where public has comments. Still nothing, John?
Yep, still nothing.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and move to the next item on our agenda. And hopefully Ryan is with us. John, is he with us?
Yes, he is. I'm promoting him to a panelist so he can talk. Just didn't want him to be in too early. So he
All
is
right. Well,
here.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. The purpose of our meeting tonight is to have a discussion and hear additional information that you may have for the council regarding the 7-Eleven project on the corner of 1700 North and Washington Boulevard. So with that, Ryan, we'll go ahead and let you speak to the council, and then we'll seek discussion from our council. So Ryan, go ahead and probably unmute yourself, and we're ready to hear you.
Thanks, Council, for speaking with me. I think what I'd like to do is just share this screen. I've got a PowerPoint here with a few different options, so I'm not very good at this Zoom, even in this crazy world. So let me see if I can do it.
Can you email it to me, Ryan? The webinar version of Zoom won't let outside participants share.
Oh yeah, I emailed it to you earlier. Let me try it again. Did you find it, John?
No, I just show the 2 emails with the link and the agenda. I don't see it.
Let me do this. Try that.
Turn on my fan here.
Still hasn't come through. Do you know how big the file is?
26 megabytes.
Yeah, our email won't let anything bigger than 20 through.
Oh, okay.
Is it saved to a Google Drive or something?
Yeah, it's on a Google Drive.
So send me the link and I can pull it from there.
Okay, let me do that. How do you send the link, John? I'm not smart at this.
So if you right click on it and there's a little share that'll pop up, you can click that and then you can copy the link.
Okay. 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 It come through yet?
Not yet. Let's see. Yeah, it's still nothing. I just emailed you my Gmail account. You can maybe try sharing it with that. See if that'll work.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Or you can even email it to that account, because that account will allow a larger file, and then I can just save it on the city.
Okay.
Ryan Forsyth, you're a patient man.
Oh, you're patient.
I'd
I'm
be,
sorry. I'm not technologically advanced.
I can't even spell Google.
Didn't you think that was some kind of drink or something, Blake?
GEW. Yeah, I think it was some kind of a drink. Charlotte, how are you? Bill, you doing well?
Oh, sorry, Blake. I didn't hear who you were saying.
Nope. How are you today?
I'm doing well today.
Good. Ryan Barker doing well?
I come through yet, John?
Doing good.
Not yet.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, there it is.
Nervous.
Okay. Perfect.
Charlotte, you're doing well?
Okay, let's see.
You know, I look at your guys' rooms and they're all looking nice and professional. I've got dead animals hanging all over my walls.
Yours has that kind of outdoorsy rustic charm.
This is my man cave. And my wife told me I could only hang my animals in my man cave. When I approached her, I said, well, remember 50% of the walls in this house are mine. She said, yep. And you can put them downstairs too.
Well, that was your first mistake, thinking that 50% of the walls were yours.
Okay, so it looks like we're good to go, Ryan.
Perfect. Thanks, John. So yeah, just go to the next slide. So as we started going through this, Brandon had sent us over these goals and how to try to design this building. And so I snipped out the email that he'd sent me, and these are some of the things that we tried to do as we thought through design elements. So Southtown goals: create design features that announce you have arrived in North Ogden, provide a support function to downtown, revitalize the North Ogden Plaza and the Kurtz area, consider additional height requirements in strategic locations such as the corners that intersect Washington Boulevard. Corner towers could create a recognizable theme that ties in with downtown. Larger corner plazas with distinctive features such as artistic signs could create a gateway effect for North Ogden. Work with UDOT to change the street cross section and improve pedestrian street crossings to include reduced speeds, traffic calming such as medians, on-street parking, and landscape boulevards. Change the streetscape with widened sidewalks, street trees, and specialty cutoff lighting. Address signage to improve appearance and create distinctiveness from standard suburban strip mall type development. And consider the cannery architectural style as a possible theme to reinforce in the area. So these were some of the things that we tried to keep at the forefront of our design of this building. And as we work forward to a hopeful solution, that, you know, just so you know, our understanding and our background, and if there's things that we are missing that are, or additional things, I would love to know those things. Go to the next slide, please, John. So when we started designing, I hired 3 different architects to take different, take different shots at this. One of the architects out of Idaho knew that there was some cannery, red brick themes, and wanted taller corner elements. This was one of the first drawings that we provided. that they provided us. You can go to the next one. These are just gonna be pretty quick, but just some iterations. This was another architect out of Minnesota that we hired to take a shot at it. Had a different architectural style, but a lot of detail, a lot of brick and stone and parapet walls and things like that. And Planning Commission wanted to mimic more of the modern style, so we abandoned this one. Next one, yeah. Oh, go to the next one. There we go. They asked us to accentuate the corner. And this doesn't show very well without 3D, but if you look at the little site plan over where the arrow was that John was pointing at, you can see that they wanted to accentuate that southeast corner as best we could. So in order to still keep the floor plan of the 7-Eleven, we proposed some sort of a big, it doesn't look good on this plan because it's not 3D, but it had walkways under this sort of arch parapet. We could have changed the signage however it would work, but essentially, as you can see on that site plan, it had almost an accent facing towards Washington and 1700. Go to the next one, please. And then the Planning Commission wanted us to push the cannery look more. So one of our other architects out of Idaho presented some of these drawings. Go next. Then I didn't like, and neither did some of the planning commissioners we spoke to, we didn't like how weird that corner entry was. So we tried to just accentuate the corner more. The top building is the one to look at, but to square it off and to try to do something to bring up the corner and do something there. Next, please. Then we came up with, the other architect came up with this one. You can see we had no lack of trying. This was another one, something to accentuate that corner again. And I did think it was funny when I said, hey, our goal is to say something, welcome to North Ogden. And their solution was to put the letters, welcome to North Ogden. That's not what I was going for, but that's what the architect provided me when I said that. But I thought it was funny when they did that. But you can see they're trying to mimic cannery colors. Next, please. This one had more metal and a taller corner at that southeast corner. Oops, yeah. More of a cannery, old wood style. This one was voted down. Go to the next one. Then we ended on this design because the drawings just didn't do any of them justice. And there was one in Denver that was similar to these finishes that we had photos of that just really popped and it looked really nice. But the Planning Commission wanted something taller, and I agree with them that the goal was that we wanted something taller, something that would accentuate. So at this point, they asked us to push forward with a clock tower type of style. Next, please. And then we added the clock, and we still thought, that doesn't have the big inviting, accent around the corner. So we asked them to provide some more height. Even though this had the taller corner, we wanted a little more height. Next, please. So then that's where we got a little taller corner and a clock tower style in the middle that would kind of, accentuate that gateway architecture. And Planning Commission asked us to make it bigger and a little more modern. Next, please. They also asked us to try to match not so much the cannery colors, but to match the colors that were in the prominence point. So we provided some lighter colors here. You'll see the light grays instead of the woods and that older style. So this was another option that we just a color differential. Next, please. Then we went here to try to get the modern slope. They wanted to match the prominence points, so we put more of a hipped roof on the clock tower to match some of the skylines of Prominence Point that had been drawn. Next, please. This is kind of where we ended up. They decided they did not like the lighter color. They liked the darker color. They liked the accentuated corner with some garden walls and walkability, and the clock tower feature that was kind of part of the building, but not right up on the corner. Next, please. This was the first site plan that we provided, and you can see those little plants on either side of the building with walkways coming in. But we ran into some trouble with the city engineer because even though our goal was that we needed to have 70% frontage, there was also the site triangle requirement that within a 40-foot site triangle, we could not have anything that was over 2 feet tall for planters or for any visibility, any visual blocking. So we also, this didn't really meet the 70% requirement. So go to the next one, please. That's where we added the garden walls and things to try to stretch the building, but not make it, a whole bunch of unusable space, but still provide an inviting feel from Washington. Next, please. Here's the site triangle. So we had to adjust the site plan and kind of change up that corner. And that was another round of comments that we went through. Next, please. Here's the original, in all the planning commission meetings, we had a lot of Brandon had showed the drawings of what a gateway building was, and some of my concern and my was here's the overall site plan that was also in the development agreement, and it shows a fuel station with gas pumps behind the building squarely fronted up on Washington, and with some parking and some access along the northern edge that people could walk around, to come in and park there. Next, please. Here was another development site plan, a development agreement site plan in color in the same agreement that shows the same thing, but it also shows the layout of how the roads are going to come and how everything's going to work together. And if you drive by the site now, you can see that those roads have been built and constructed, and they are these exact dimensions, and it matches this plan exactly. Next, please. Here was the example in the same development agreement of what the design would be of that gateway building. And this, directly conflicts with the site plan. My understanding, based off of the 9 or 10 months of trying to design, is that this building would not be possible to construct, just due to the sheer size, due to the frontage requirements on Washington, and all the trees and the monument signs up in the site triangle area, and parking requirements mainly, especially considering the spatial requirements of those newly constructed roads, where they are and where their parking would be, considering where those roads go. Next, please. This is what the development agreement called for at the car wash site, where the car wash is now done. Both of those, you can see, you can go to the next one too, John. But there you can see that's exactly where the car wash is. That's essentially what was anticipated. But as you can see again, if you go to the next slide, this is the overall site plan, and you can see where the car wash is. It shows a long, skinny building. Nothing even remotely close to what those hand-drawn architectural drawings show. If you go back one more time, you can see that car wash, what the architectural plan. You can see big open spaces to the right that wouldn't fit in with the site plan nearly as well as what the car wash did. My opinion is based off of this site plan. I feel like the council did a good job following what was anticipated when you consider other spatial requirements and what is actually buildable on that exact site plan. Go forward, please, one more. There you have it again. You can see that it shows a fuel station on the corner we're proposing, and then it shows a big long building right up on Washington over on the left side, up on the north side. Next, please. So with that being said, I've gone back to 7-Eleven and said, I know that one of the original sticking points was, how do we get multiple access points, which has been a big hiccup for me and for 7-Eleven, due to the fact that a lot of times people don't, for safety reasons, they only want one set of doors for people to come in and come out, and they want it to be facing the fuel canopy. And I was able to get some success at some other places where 7-Eleven was able to successfully implement dual storefront buildings. And the last 2 months have made a big difference in that, because 7-Eleven, as you know, is the largest convenience store in the world. They just acquired Speedway. And they are not only a fuel centered business, but they're a walkability, the densest place in the world have 7-Elevens on every corner, and they're great little C-stores for people on a smaller, geographic footprint. And with that being said, with COVID and some of the issues that they have encountered, they've launched about 6 weeks ago an app on phones where if you go into a 7-Eleven now, it's self-checkout, which they're trying to get rid of some of the one checkout place, and they're more trying to monitor and allow people to come in, select what they have, scan it on their phone, pay for it on their phone, and walk out and not have any direct human contact, which helped. This is a site that was just approved in Virginia, and as you can see, it has 2 entrances. It has one that's facing the fuel station, like a traditional what we've proposed, and then it's got a chamfered corner up in the front with a real an actual approach, that not approach, but an entrance that that allows customers to come in and an inviting presence on the road too. Yeah, there you go. You can see both of those. Next, please. You can go to the next. Here's the site plan, or the floor plan. It's exactly opposite, but you can see the corner. There's a chamfered area with stairs coming up in, and the door on the opposite side of the 7-Eleven, it allows for one walk aisle through, and so that the people at the cash registers can actively manage and monitor both sides. Can you see that there? It's kind of, I wish I could direct it, but you can see the front doors at the top of the site plan. Jonathan, maybe you can.
So Ryan, if you, on your, above your little green, there's an annotate button. Do you see that, like when your controls pop up?
Yeah.
There's a little annotate. If you click on that, you can draw on the picture.
Annotate. Can you see that, Mike? View options. Oh, perfect. So here's out on the street corner here, and here's out towards the fuel, And then here is all of like this is where they sell cookies and new baked goods. You should go into one of these new ones. They're really, really neat, but they make pizzas and, you know, croissants and cookies and things, and they sell it all here. But they're trying to make a walkway so that it can be easily monitored, you know, here. And so 7-Eleven has recently, in the last couple of weeks, approved this as a floor plan, which was a lot of my problems before, because there was no approved floor plan that would allow me to have 2 entrances. But recently, even since we met last time, that has been changed. So go ahead, John. Here was another one. Oh, how do I get rid of those now?
Just put clear all. So you clear this little dumpster and then clear all my drawings. Yep.
Okay. Here's another set of elevations that they just sent me today. And I don't really like this, but it's much cheaper than what we've proposed, and it's much taller as well. And it has 2 entrances. It has the fuel side here. This would be the fuel side. Let's see. This would be the fuel side. And then this is out, you know, on the corner. They had, you know, some larger, and then the entire frontage, all of this is quite a bit taller than what we had proposed. But this was an approved elevation they just did in Virginia that showed that same, you know, I guess, you know, trying to do the same thing with dual entrances. With that being said, as you can see, I am more than willing, and I have been more than willing to just do whatever, you know, whatever works. You can go to the next slide, John.
No.
You know, and our goals, as you can see, is provide an aesthetically pleasing and functional convenience store to serve both our clients, 7-Eleven, and the citizens of North Ogden. Do so as efficiently as possible with regard to time and cost, and maximize the employment of specific architectural elements North Ogden desires, but not over-design the building to the point that it becomes unaffordable. With that being said, I've been open from the beginning, and I continue to be open to what you feel is best for your community. And I'm happy to build it. You know, I feel like through the planning commission process, I tried to you know, to let them know and to show them that we're flexible, that we're happy to put whatever budget dollars we have toward doing what you actually want, instead of throwing a dart at the dartboard and hoping that it sticks. And I still feel like that's the best solution. I feel like we've done as good as we can, and we received a unanimous vote in favor of that building with the planning commission, because they all had their fingerprint on it. They all were able to adequately and eloquently tell us of the things that they wanted, and those changes we made. And I don't feel like I've been able to do that yet with the city council, but that does not mean that I'm not willing to, or not desirous to make sure that you all can have your fingerprint on this building too. Luckily for me, 7-Eleven is very flexible and very forward thinking. They're a lot more, yeah, you can go ahead and close that, John, but they're a lot more, they're a lot more progressive. They're in bigger cities, and, you know, I was in Mexico in March, and they were in Cancun, and they were in New York and in Charlotte a couple months before that. I saw them everywhere. So I think that they're open to do what you'd like, and we as the developer have a budget, and we're happy to, you know, we don't need to get rich on this job. We're happy to spend what budget we have doing that, you know, doing what you would ask. And with that, I'd like to leave it, and I'd love your opinions and your thoughts and your direction, if there is a direction that is a positive one. And so, yeah, please feel free, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ryan, very much for your time this evening and for your patience during this process. You know, I was able to listen in to a couple of the planning commission meetings, and, you know, I don't know how we got on this clock tower thing. I'm not sure, you know, once again, I'd like to hear from the council, but, you know, it seems like we started designing this thing around a clock tower at some point in time. And, you know, I think we want something nice on that corner. It would be nice if we could think of something that represented North Ogden. I don't know. I've only lived here for 35 years, so I don't know if there's another clock tower in the city or something that would be representative as we come into North Ogden. But I would like to hear from the council. I've had some brief discussions with some of the council members, and the ones I've talked to seem to be in agreement of looking at overall, particularly at the commercial part of the project down there. Things have changed from, I think, what was originally anticipated there, and it might be time to kind of take a look at that. But I would like to hear from the council and see if they can give you some input. I know that double entry is important, so that's nice that 7-Eleven has kind of made that move. But why don't we start with you, Councilman Swanson, this evening, and maybe you could give Ryan some feedback on your thoughts and what would be helpful to him.
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate that, Ryan. Thanks for the presentation. John, can you bring his presentation back up? And go back towards the end where that the elevation showing the dual entry.
Councilman Swanson, while he's pulling that up, can I just ask Ryan a question? One of the things we're seeing that's really popular, and I don't know if it would, but we're seeing some glass atriums on the corner with kind of a sit-down eating area for people to come in, almost like an internet cafe, or come down and get their coffee with their group and sit down. And we're finding that's very popular in our designs. It's kind of a glass atrium, actually maybe with a staircase up, where people can sit down and just chat and enjoy. You'll see that a lot, I think, with Harmon's and some others. But sorry, Phil, looks like it's up now, so go ahead.
Oh, that's fine, John. Can you go back a slide, please? Keep it right there. Stop right there. Ryan, a thought that I have. One, I really appreciate the efforts that you've made, and frankly, that 7-Eleven is seeing that just a single entry is no longer a viable model for them. What is the possibility of turning this? I'm going to turn on my annotate here. We have this entrance down here that would be facing Washington over here, 1700 down here. Is there a possibility of rotating this building 45 degrees clockwise? Does that make sense?
So which way would the corner entry?
So this right now is west.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that right? The
Wouldn't it
way
be facing southeast, Councilman Swanson?
this would be southeast currently.
Oh, okay.
Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Yeah.
And it may be that, and this is going to really look terrible with all the scribbling going on, but it may be with this facing west, that means that the 1700 Washington corner would be down here. So the whole thing might have to be mirrored, flip-flopped.
Yeah, it would have to be mirrored, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? So what is the possibility of, instead of this building being squared to the corner, that it sits at a 45, where this faces northwest towards the fuel station that would be out here, like my art?
Mhm.
And this would be, this side of the building would be southeast, facing the corner. That would clear some sight triangles, allow for some walkability, walkability, some, just like a plaza, a small plaza kind of thing. Is that a possibility at all to rotate it like that?
I think yes, especially having the walkability be, having that corner entry be on the corner. I mean, I think you could maybe make it a little bigger. The one thing that I know they are going to want is one of those entries being directly perpendicular to the fuel pumps.
Right, okay.
I think you could do that on the back. Ryan, and I like that idea, if you were able to kind of put that on an angle and have a little plaza like Phil talked about out there. Actually, you could have some little sit-down area for people to kind of sit out front. I know you've maybe seen that Chevron over on Second and Harrison where they redid that intersection. There's kind of just a little sit-down, couple tables out front where people can grab a Coke or a cup of coffee, and in the springtime, summer and fall.
John, can you go back to the site plan, please? Back up to that site plan, keep going. Yeah, the one where we're right there, that would work well. What I'm thinking about, Ryan, is the building. I mean, you can see here that the fuel station is not squared with either Washington or 1700. And so if the building were, this is why I'm not an architect, but if the building were in that direction and then you had your main doors here and you had your plaza doors here, or even, on this corner. Looks like a hatchet.
Great. Phil, what were your grades in art?
Well, I actually started college as an architecture major, and now you know why I switched.
Well, that's good. I think the concept of angling it makes a lot of sense if you can pull that off.
Mayor, I think
Councilman Barker?
one thing that'd make it hard to angle it is the development agreement says it's got to cover 70% frontage on Washington. So you can't really angle it because you got 70% frontage covered.
But I think the council has the right to modify that agreement. To my original point, right? And I know you're right on there, but I think it might be time to take a look at it. I had a conversation with some council members about the modern day restaurants sit down are probably going to also want to drive through for pickup, but we prohibit drive through down there. And so
well,
I
was gonna say I'm okay with angling it, but maybe we should give him that, if we're okay as a council, give him that nod now, so before he spends money redesigning it, and say, yeah, we'll be okay if you angle it, and then we'll make an amendment in the future.
Well, we have Rob on the phone with us also. He could maybe give us some feedback, and maybe before we ask Rob to come on, because your point is very good, Ryan, under the current thing. And that's one of the things that kind of frustrated me on this original design, is it had to have so much glass, but when we extended the length with the garden wall, then there wasn't enough glass. So it just seemed to be almost circular on various things that to comply. But I would like to maybe, Ryan, I don't know if you have other comments. It's a good comment, or Phil.
No,
if you,
I'm okay with it. I like Phil's suggestions. I just think we should, if we're gonna change it, let's change it.
The only comment I would add to Ryan Barker's, because we have two Ryans on the line here, to Councilman Barker's comment is, and this is a thought that just struck me as Councilman Barker was making his comments. We asked for something unique on this corner that, in a way, we hamstrung to some degree because of the 70% that we required facing Washington. I don't know, I'm speaking purely for myself. I'd be willing to explore the building if it were angled like this and then look at some kind of an amendment that would allow for less than 70% facing Washington, especially on this corner.
Yeah, I would suggest that we look at the whole commercial outlay there and see, we continue to get amendment after amendment. Jack is wanting to do this, and things have changed in the last 5 years. And I think, just kind of being realistic, what was originally visioned down there, I think if we want to be realistic, isn't going to happen. And for us to continue to hang our hat on what we envisioned 5 years ago that has dramatically changed for legitimate reasons, I'm with Phil and Ryan. Maybe it's time to kind of look at the whole thing down there, particularly the commercial part. And I'm not even adverse to looking at, the residential part, because I know there's numerous changes that have been suggested there, and just get this thing really laid out for what's realistic. But I appreciate those comments, Councilman Swanson, Councilman Barker. Let's go to you, Charlotte. Excuse me, Ryan Barker, Councilman Barker, Councilman Swanson, or I don't mean to cut you off.
I'm done. That's good.
Thank you very much.
No,
Councilwoman Ekstrom. Oh, right. Councilman Barker, sorry.
I like your suggestions of angling it and giving them a little plaza out front, if we can make it happen.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Barker. Councilwoman Ekstrom, any comments?
Yes, I really love those suggestions. One of the objections that I had to the design of how it sat on that corner like that is it felt like Washington Boulevard was really getting the back of the building. It was kind of like, this is the 7-Eleven for Prominence Point, but the rest of the city is kind of like, you get the backside. Where I love your suggestion, Mayor, of having that atrium, kind of that sitting area where it could be just like, here, come and actually have a place to visit. And we, especially love the idea of it being 2-story and having glass and things like that. And then also having it, that to me makes it feel more like it's not just for these people over here, but it is for everybody. And I think that is a unique elevation that is different than anything else we have in the city, that really would be kind of like draw your eye, really got a lot of curb appeal to it. So if I like the idea of the angles, I think that's great. So I'm not an architect at all. It's sort of like, I want to say, go do that. So Ryan Forsyth is that, are these things that, it's one thing to have a conceptual idea of something. Is that buildable? Is that something that can actually, we've got this great idea. I don't know if I'm communicating it very well, but I think all of the suggestions that you're given kind of gives it more that feel of a gateway building. The angles, the atrium, the dual entrances, that is that something that can be designed and built? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, I was just looking at the site plan. If you can go, John, to slide 19. So what I was looking at and measuring was, do we have room to rotate? And there's a few specific things. I need 60 feet between the building and the fuel canopy, where you can see that 60 feet. Right here. I need 60 feet from here over to here. So and then I need enough room for the truck path. So what I was trying to sketch out was maybe turning the fuel canopy like that. And then turning try to make sure I maintain the 60 foot. I was not an artist either, Councilmember Swanson. So, but I'm trying to think of all the site plan issues on how they're gonna get fueling in there, but because of the shape of this lot, I actually think I could probably do it. You see what I mean there with the, that tank, where the tanks are would essentially just be right there now. So that they could refuel and whatnot. One thing, as far as the glass atrium, I like that, and I've seen that like in the Harmons down in Washington. I think that here I worry about trying to make something too tall and then the rest of it be shorter and having it not fit in. And so I wonder if the way to do that and accomplish the same thing is similar to how we proposed, with these planter boxes and things. If you could make it an outside area, something that's inviting and have a bench or some tables or.
Ryan, some of those are taller than they need to be. You only need what, a 1 story above the floor. I mean, you look at Harmon's and you look at the one on the Lynn's over there in Washington Fields.
Yes.
Those are way too tall. This one wouldn't have to be that tall, but it would give you the elevation coming into the city with that turn that way.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think you would want to go as tall as like a Harmon's or a Lynn's. There's a lot of wasted space there, and I think it's more aesthetic. But if you could just do enough, a 1 story where people could go up there and sit, I think that would add some class to the building. And frankly, no one mentioned this, but I know you got caught up in the clock tower and the Welcome to North Ogden sign.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that, people probably know pretty much when they're getting to North Ogden, a nice sign, but I never quite understood the clock tower. I'm just wondering if the atrium could kind of set that elevation instead of the tower, the clock tower.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Swanson.
John, can you bring up, of the photos that I sent you, can you bring up the one of the 7-Eleven in Dallas? I think it's the first one. Yeah, that's it. Can you expand that, zoom in on that just a little bit, especially to the lower left corner? What interested me in this one is, Mayor, what you were mentioning, a place where people can sit down. Here's, Ryan, something that seems pretty simple and outdoors that could be used for probably 8 months of the year here.
Yeah.
There be people willing to sit out there having their coffee or their hot chocolate or their Monster Energy drink or whatever it is they're going there. Something like that that's very simple. John, can you zoom back out, please? And I liked the elevation. I don't necessarily like this modern steel industrial look, but I do like the elevation. So just another thought.
And that is much less expensive to build than what I've proposed. It's funny, it's interesting that you found this one. This Laredo Taco, that is a brand new concept that 7-Eleven is doing in-store restaurants. They're trying to be away from fueling and do more in-store restaurants. So this is their new restaurant that they are, they're actually doing a couple right now in Utah. So it's kind of a this is a unique, this is like cutting edge for them right now.
Yeah, I read a pretty nice article about the whole idea and what they're trying to do.
I like that outside sitting area. And even if that could be kind of on, near the plaza, I don't like the squared off where it says 7-Eleven there at the top. I like this concept here, but if you could just take that corner, because what they could do is they could put the restaurant on the bottom level of that atrium. And then, because people could sit down and eat their taco, and then those who just wanted a gathering place on that second floor. But that's a nice atrium. That's kind of I mean, not atrium, outside sitting area for a gathering situation? Because I know there's a lot of folks in North Ogden. There's a whole group. They used to go down to Ridley's every morning and have coffee. And then on Saturday, they'd spend 2 hours going to have breakfast and just renew friendships. And if we could do something on that corner, just a thought, but Councilwoman Ekstrom, did you have any more comments before we go to Councilman Severing?
No, I think I covered it, but I hadn't really thought of the idea of an atrium in a sitting area, but I really like it. Was that your idea, Mayor? Because I was like, that's thumbs up.
Well,
And-
I don't want to break what my wife would say, that I never have any good ideas. So I'm
Yeah,
going
Well,
to try to assign that idea to someone else, whoever would like to take it. But let's
You
go to
know-
you.
you
Let's go
know,
to
the
you,
thing that-
Councilman Severing. Oh, sorry, Ryan.
Sorry, I don't think that is a second. I know that this story is not. That's not a second story. That's a typical. I'm gonna let you in on developer secrets, but this is what like you'll see a lot of storage unit facilities that and places where signage ordinances are very strict. They put glass storefront up, and they put lighting behind it, because that's not considered signage.
Mm,
This is if you see like the new U-Haul where the old Sierra RV was, or if you see Extra Space Storage on the freeway, the Laredo Taco probably takes up all of the signage on this store. And so what they've done is they've made a big glass area and lit it really well, but that's not accessible, and it's probably not a second story. That's just a way to get around sign ordinances. But
okay, thanks for that insight. Councilman Severing, would you like to add your thoughts and give some feedback to Ryan?
Yeah, a couple of questions, Ryan Forsyth. First off, thanks for being patient during this process. You've done an incredible job at your due diligence. Just a couple of things. I have to confess, I'm not really a big fan of the clock tower. I worry about, its functionality during the winter. So maybe for me, there was a couple of other plans that were presented that had a little bit more kind of a rustic feel, but that's just my personal thoughts. Are you guys planning on putting in? Are you thinking about like electric charging stations for like Teslas? Is that something that 7-Eleven is looking at now?
I don't think on this one, but I'm sure that when the demand becomes, I know that they're not considering the restaurant on this one yet either because of demographics still, but I know that there's one down in Salt Lake Valley that they're working on, and then I've got another one up in Logan that I'm working on that's the same thing. But I know that they're building the buildings to where they can be converted to that now.
Excellent. Well, I just have to suggest, like I said a minute ago, there was a couple of plans that I liked a little bit better that were without the clock tower, that seemed to kind of balance out the car wash with that corner. So anyhow, maybe one question too, Ryan, with this COVID, gratefully our situation here with sales tax has been better than we thought. So what kind of sales tax have you seen that a local city could expect from something like a 7-Eleven?
I know that based off of the 7-Elevens that have been opening in Utah, the one out on Larson Lane, Brigham City, I was involved with 20th and Harrison, 21st and Wall, Harrisville, Taylorsville. There's some that are doing $5,000 a day and some that are doing almost $10,000 a day of sales. So I don't know exactly what your tax rate is, but if let's just say you average $7,500 a day times 365 days a year, that's probably a $3 million store, I'm guessing. So So yeah, 2.7 million and a tax percentage. John, do you know what the tax percentage is?
Ryan, what's the breakdown generally between fuel and inside sales? I know I was
That's
talking to some,
only inside sales. That's only inside sales.
because we have a couple C stores. We used to have the one out on Clinton that I think is now a 7-Eleven out in Clinton on the corner there, and 2.7 million on inside sales. I mean, I would love to see that. That seems a little heavy, but you'd know more about it than ours. But I know that was one of the top sellers in the state at one time. I think we were happy to get like 2.2, but you know more about it, so.
Yeah, my uncle is a 7-Eleven franchisee in Provo, and I know he averages 8,000 a day, which would be right around there. I mean, I'm sure there's stores that are less too. They tell me that where they want to be there when they open is $4,200 a day.
That wouldn't be all incremental.
Yeah.
That'd be some shell game from whether it's Smith's or Maverick or whatever. So
Yeah.
that is a tough one to answer, Blake. What's incremental and what's just reallocation from others.
Right. I was just looking at another positive for bringing it into the city. But Ryan, I think you've done a lot of work. I'm very supportive of Councilman Barker and Councilman Swanson's recommendations on the angle change on the building. And again, I'm just going to say it one more time and call it good, but I'm not a big fan of the clock tower. I'd like to have it be a little bit more balanced with the car wash, but you did an excellent job. Thank you.
I'm just going to say I'm still a fan of that atrium, that gathering place for the winter on the corner.
I liked the atrium as well.
Council, any other feedback for Mr. Forsyth? Can we hear from,
I just want to apologize to Ryan. I think he had left me a voicemail a while ago, and I am not very good at returning voicemails. If you text me, I will call you back. I just want to apologize to you for that.
You sound like my kids. They never answer the phone, but they'll return a text. Could we get some input from?
Kids trying to talk to me all day long, and they are as loquacious as I am, so that's a little bit of a problem.
Mayor, I don't think we've heard from Councilwoman Stoker yet.
Is she with us?
Is she
I kept watching to see if she was with us. I couldn't see her.
I am.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I kept trying to see if you were with us. I apologize. I didn't think you made it. So Councilwoman Stoker, accept my apologies and please give your input.
Also, my apologies for being late also. So I've just kind of caught in on the tail end of all of this. So I don't know where it's gone or what was presented other than the picture I'm seeing with the taco place on it. So I don't have, I guess, any input right now. I'm just kind of listening to what's trying to catch up. Did I lose everybody?
Oh, we're here.
Oh, okay. So was there a plan presented again? I keep hearing the clock tower, so I don't know. Help me out here.
We kept saying,
was dead.
yeah, we kept saying we don't think it needs to be designed around the clock tower.
I agree. So like I say, I don't have any input right now because I don't know what's been said or what hasn't.
Well, we just talked about maybe an update is angling it on a 45 degree, so it's not square to Washington Boulevard. We talked about some outside seating, a little plaza. Maybe a way we could get some inside seating for a gathering place. What else major overview did we mention, Council?
I think the two entrances was a change also.
Oh, yeah.
And then reducing the amount of frontage that's required in the agreement.
Yeah, we did talk.
Reducing
Oh, sorry. We did talk about, maybe looking at the requirements we have down there and refreshing those based upon today's world versus what was originally down there, and just taking a whole look at at least the commercial part of the project and maybe the whole project and say, this is really what's going to come about based upon what we know today. So does that update you, Councilwoman Stoker?
It does.
Sorry,
So-
once again, I didn't see you join.
That's okay. My fault. So I like what you were saying, what's been said then. I don't have any heartache other than I agree with no clock tower.
Okay, council, would it be okay if we get Rob, our planner, in place to tell us kind of where we may be off base or what some of the concerns might be?
Mayor, I would never tell you that you're off base.
You'd be the only one.
So the nice thing about the MPC zone is that it has some basic baseline aspirational standards, but it also gives lots of flexibility to both applicants as well as the city to identify what is the final product that is acceptable. So and as part of what would be going forward with some new site plan and new architectural designs and what have you, those would then come back to you for your review. We would make a determination as to whether or not it would actually require an amendment or whether it fits within the provision of the ordinance that allows for a 5% change. So I'd work with John Call relative to that, but that's the basics for you.
Anything else, Rob?
No, I don't have anything other than what I just shared.
You think these suggestions that were made tonight would be possible?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right. Ryan, do you have anything else, or council?
I just was trying to get a hold of the 7-Eleven architect that does these all over the country to just ask about atrium and how that would work and square footages. I'm willing to take a shot at it. I just wanted to see how that might work. I couldn't get him on the phone, but yeah, I'm happy to look at that. And maybe if I could just summarize, I appreciate Ryan Barker's his direction that maybe if I could make some of these changes that I'd be going towards a favorable outcome. But I guess one question I do have is just the reality of if I turn that building on the side, that corner entry that works with 7-Eleven's floor plan wouldn't necessarily be, it would be turned further to 1700 than it would be to Washington. Is that a problem? Is that not what we're going for? Does that make sense?
I think it's
Mayor?
somewhere on the south. I'd let Councilman Swanson address that since he came up with that concern or idea. Councilman?
I think optimally, if it were situated in the corner, but if it were facing more towards 1700 with the type of traffic that there is on Washington, I think 1700 is going to be the more, to use a term that we're kind of going away from, but more walkable and approachable is that 1700 side. And with the rotation of the building 45 degrees, I think in my mind, it presents the whole thing in a much more gateway statement type building arrangement. Does that make sense?
Yeah. One question. So John, could you pull up the site plan one more time?
John, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the slide again.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could pull that up, I'm gonna annotate on that. Perfect. Okay. So if we, a question, just thinking out loud here, if we 45 off a corner, it makes the square fit easier and still get my 60 feet there. One thought that I had was, as we were speaking, is kind of get this corner. If that corner was squared off, so that it would allow the building to, I wish I could draw. That is horrible, but it would allow it to rotate so that we could still keep distance from here, from here over to here. That makes sense. Because we're still getting the same sort of space over in here, even if we don't do a corner entry, if that makes sense. Does that make any sense?
It makes, oh, where'd your annotation go?
Oh, shoot.
That's okay. I'll quickly, so if we were, and it's certainly not to scale or anywhere close. So your main entrance would be here, right?
Yeah.
And then that corner entrance with the steps would be here, where there would be maybe the atrium or the sitting area that we saw in that Dallas store is out here in this area. And, people walking along here, coming from wherever, coming here and entering here, or coming in from here from the fuel station.
I think is the substance, Councilman Swanson, we really don't want the pumps to be totally visual from Washington Boulevard.
I think that adds greatly to the aesthetics, that those pumps aren't, everybody's going to know they're there. But if they're not as visible, it adds to the aesthetics of the building.
Okay. Ryan Forsyth, any additional questions you may have? We know you've got some research to do. I think the
Yeah.
purpose of our meeting tonight was trying to give you some feedback on what would, we still want to hear from the public, see what their concerns are, if any. Take that into consideration, but does that give you adequate feedback? We know you've got a little research to do, and you can communicate that to John and Rob based upon the ideas. We don't want you to have to spend a whole bunch of money before you find out what's possible.
Sure. No, yeah, that gives me a little bit of research. Like I said, I think there's enough room here that I can rotate the pumps, and what Councilmember Swanson said works if we had the building like this, with the front here, the doors would be over closer here, so that walkway to the two doors would be right there. That seems to make more sense. So yeah, no, I think I can go try to draw something. One question I do have, this is, most of our conversations have been related to the site plan, other than the atrium or the sitting area, but it's all been mainly site plan driven. Is there any feedback or, on materials, on, colors? Councilmember Severing mentioned match the car wash, and, so far it's been matching the townhomes or matching the cannery, but do we want browns? Do we want, the car wash is a lot of dark browns and some some stone and some siding and things. Are there materials and colors that I could take back to try to get at least a better shot at what you would prefer?
Well, you know, what would be nice is to start creating some type of theme, some type of consistency. Personally, I don't know, you know, what makes sense in colors or whatever. Maybe some of the council can give some feedback on colors or construction. Alls I know is we'd like to not have just a flat square building rotated there. We'd like to have some elevation, not a clock tower.
John, maybe you can go back through those earlier slides, and Councilman Severing, if you'd be willing to share the rustic one or two that you were thinking met your eye better. I'd be interested to know which those are.
Well, thank you, Councilman Swanson. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm with the mayor, just having some consistency. I'm probably a little bit, I'm probably a little OCD in some things, not everything. I'm a little bit more favoring, I love the cannery feel. I like this one is nice. So I'm pretty flexible, but I'm not really into a total industrial look, but just something that has some consistency between the townhomes and the car wash. Not a big fan of the trellis myself, but
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Me three.
so again, I don't want to be the one that picks out the plans.
Blake, John, go forward too, please. Is this the cannery one you're talking about, Blake?
Yeah, the cannery, I think, so when we talk cannery, Ryan, are we talking colors that would match the red brick? Because this comes across a little bit more of a brown to me.
Yeah,
Where to me, the
red,
cannery
yeah.
is red.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know,
I like this cannery feel as well.
I think we've talked about the cannery kind of something that is North Ogdenish. If that's a theme, something that we can be consistent as we develop that area and you know, I mean, I'm looking at this, I'm back to my talking about OCD. This corner here that's elevated, you know, that could easily be an atrium properly done. I had to throw that in, Councilman Swanson.
How do you really feel about an atrium?
I like it because I've seen the success it brings to those who have one.
If you were to ask me to vote right now, I would vote for this this particular design with the colors. But
And I'd support you. I really like the colors. And this, to me, this feels more North Ogden, even though I've only been here 15 years. This reminds me of the cannery and that North Ogden color scheme. And anyway, that's what I think.
I agree. It has kind of an updated but still traditional feel to it without the industrial look that kind of can come in a little bit. And I think the colors can just go along with the ones that are already that you see along both Washington Boulevard and at least the mock-ups that I've seen that are going in Promontory Point. But I really like this one too.
Does that give you some sensation, Ryan?
Yeah, this is a much less expensive to do too, to be honest. So as far as finishes, do you like a wood or like a red brick? I guess match the cannery, so the red brick look. So
well, and you know, you keep talking about this cheaper to build, that leaves you room for an atrium. That gives you extra money for an atrium.
It does.
Ryan, did you know we're thinking about an atrium?
I've heard it.
That's a good idea, Phil, that you came up with. I like that.
I heard it somewhere. It's been bouncing around my head for the last couple of days.
Some people call it inspiration. Not desperation, inspiration.
Some people call it cell phone calls.
On an atrium, to make it more clear in my mind, is it a two, like,
That's where the elevation comes off the squareness of the building. Yeah, it's
so like if I were to annotate, it'd be like you're talking this corner
over here. Yeah, the bottom one. Yes.
and
something
then,
like that.
so if we had our doors coming in right here into the store, this would just, the upper part would be glass, right?
Could be. Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And
Could be that lets people kind of look over the mountains, look to the east there.
oh, so you're thinking an actual second story,
Yeah.
not so much outdoor eating space, but you're thinking of like up inside.
I'm greedy. I'm thinking of both.
Oh,
Having that outside sitting area for the springtime and stuff, but in the winter where people can go up there and just, whether it's eat a burrito, a hamburger, their monster drink, coffee, kind of a gathering place. Yeah, where there'd be some stairs up there with some tables where they could sit down and
And a
enjoy.
Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yeah, enjoy some coffee and talk and, look out over the mountains, over the city there.
okay.
Ryan, that would really allow you to differentiate yourself from the other C stores in North Ogden. If
Do you
something,
think it's a problem? My very limited architectural brain goes to the floor space and the approved floor plan of the inside. Do you see it a problem if it's an exterior stairway?
I think would be better interior, particularly because it would be used a lot in the winter. And, who'd be shoveling those outside stairways, et cetera.
Yeah, I just don't know how. I'm trying to think. If you go down to the floor plan, John,
Well, Ryan, we might not be able to figure that all out tonight. You may have to look at it and see if it works and get back with us.
yeah,
After you talk to your folks, I'm not sure we can. We're just kind of sharing ideas with you, and you're going to have to come back and say, this works or it doesn't work. We're just kind of giving you our preferences of differentiating it and making it a nice looking entry into our city.
and I appreciate it. I'm just, as you can tell, I've had 8 months of clock towers, so I'm just trying to I'm trying to figure out make sure that I get as close to what your goal is as possible. So
You remember Back to the Future?
yeah,
In essence, what we've done is we've gone back in time, so to speak.
I know. I just don't want to go down an atrium thing and then not be anywhere near to what you're thinking. So I'm just trying to get as close.
Just talk to us first, and we're more than happy to give you feedback.
Okay.
Okay.
could we get a DeLorean on display somewhere inside the?
Hey, my dad, we built a Tractor Supply in Pahrump, Nevada, and my dad's all about making cool little things. He bought a steel-wheeled tractor. You know how hard those are to find, and we poured a pad out in front and set that steel wheel and lit it all up, and it was cool. So maybe we can do a DeLorean. I don't know.
All right. Any other comments from council or staff?
I think we're all paddling in the same direction now, and that feels good.
All right. Well, then let's open it up for public comments. Do we have any comments from the public after they've listened to our discussion?
We do have one person who raised their hand quite a while ago. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Nate Nari or something, but they can provide that information when they speak.
Okay, you want to allow them to speak now? And Nate, if you just state your full name and your address, we'd appreciate it.
Frank Curran, Nate Nari Curran, my wife. She owns a Thai restaurant in Roy. She'd like to relocate to North Ogden.
Can you give us your address, please? I think we may have lost you, Nate. We can't hear you. John, it looks like we've lost Nate.
Okay, I'll let me oh, looks like let me try again. Try again, Nate. Hold the phone close to you.
Hear us now?
You're really quiet.
How about right now? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have a location, Ocean Mart in Roy, food court in Roy right now. And we like to locate it in North Ogden in one of these commercial properties. One question we're asking, are you going to allow drive-through window at this location?
It's one thing we've talked about looking at as a modification. Currently, it's prohibited. But as we look at the whole commercial layout there, it's something we've had a brief discussion about, no commitments, but something we're willing to look at.
Yes, under the environment right now, it really helps out. A lot of restaurants are making more money with the drive-through window. That's something that definitely would be helpful for us if there was a drive-through window. We would plan it, of course, but we would have to know if that's something that council will let us do.
Right now, it's prohibited, but it's something we've had a brief discussion about taking a look at with what's happening in the industry and things right now. So I don't think we can make a commitment tonight, Nate, but we surely be willing to talk to you and see what your thoughts are and at least take a look at it.
Okay.
Can we make another appointment to talk to anybody in North Ogden City?
Probably give Rob a call. Would that be appropriate, John?
Yeah, so I believe Nate, I think they've got my phone number and my email. I gave them my card, and if they'll reach out to me, I can get them in touch with Rob. They came in and we spoke last week.
Okay.
I might suggest that they talk to Terry Bexell too of the Economic Development Committee, maybe also.
Yeah, I think it would be, I think he is, I think he was aware of that. But once again, we do want to coordinate with that. It's a good idea, Charlotte, Councilwoman Ekstrom, and I think maybe it would be good to at least start with Rob to see what's possible and keep Terry in the loop like he suggested.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it.
okay, thank you. John, do we have any other comments?
We have a comment from Susan Clemens.
All right, Susan, if you'd state your name and your address again, we'd appreciate it.
Susan Clements, 668 East, 3125 North. Interesting discussion on the 7-Eleven on 1700 North. You're talking about wanting to match the cannery. The cannery is quite a ways away from 1700. And I do understand that it's quite an icon for North Ogden. But I think probably you might want to make sure that you coordinate more with the townhomes rather than the cannery, especially in colors. I also think that if you want something that says North Ogden, you want to have them put some rocks somewhere on that building. There's a lot of rocks in North Ogden.
That's true. So true.
And that's all I have to say.
Thanks so much for your input.
Thank you.
You know, I'm assuming we could find plenty of those rocks too. Anyone else making comments tonight, John?
No hands or chat.
All right. Once again, and I know there's been some questions of, you know, do we need another 7-Eleven? Do we need another gas station? The fact is, apparently when that was drawn up, that was one of the original things there. And I think we have to have some degree of confidence that 7-Eleven has done their feasibility studies and knows if it's, you know, a viable business. I know traffic is obviously something we always get concerned about, but I think we'll be fine. So, council, any other comments you have this evening? Seeing none, I can't see Councilwoman Stoker. She's hiding from us tonight. She hasn't turned on her video for a while.
I turn it on and off.
All right, it lightens our evening to see her smiling face, Councilwoman
I'm
Stoker.
sure.
So, staff, any comments?
None from me.
All right, well, seeing none, just let me thank you, Rand Forsyth, for joining us tonight and having an open discussion. I think that's the best way to get things accomplished. And council, thank you so much for your willingness to give input. And once again, thanks so much for serving the city, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Move to close.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Stoker,
And I'll second.
and a second one by Councilwoman Ekstrom. Anybody object to adjourning this meeting? So be it. And once again, have a great evening.
Good
Thanks,
night.